Hey guys, welcome back to AWOI Gaming. This is Perry, and today we're going to be talking about a little game called The Last of Us Part 2 for the PlayStation 4. Now, if you're not familiar with the way we do things here at AWOI Gaming, we look at video games in a way that it might be influential to the gaming community and developers as we continue to show the positivity in video games and how it's beneficial to learn from video games. Now, without further ado, let's get into The Last of Us Part 2. First up, graphics. I have to say that Naughty Dog starts off with a bang at the very beginning, how it's able to capture off the whole motion of being its movie-driven narrative gameplay style. You can see this in the way that they use different locations to showcase the ultimate power and limitations of what PlayStation 4 is capable to hold as the generation is coming to a close and we move forward to the PlayStation 5 in the holiday season. The way this is also captured, how at certain scenes a snowy area looks like snow if you're playing in HDR, even in 1080p. I could say that I did not see any real frame rate drops the entire playthrough, as my PlayStation 4 was booming and humming throughout the entire way, as it demanded its attention to make sure this game wasn't actually having its problems. But I have to say that one time while playing the game, my game actually crashed. It happened one time when I was actually trying to steal something or stealth kill them, and it just said, the game crashed, error. And it just made me go like, I hope this doesn't happen throughout the rest of the game, because that wouldn't dog, like, say, my score. But I can see how they could dog anyone else that's reviewing this game at the same time, because you want that ultimate experience, and it's such a big game, you don't want to see faults. And Naughty Dog had a couple extra months to work on these bugs. I just felt like that should not have happened. But no game is perfect, and it only happened the one time, so it didn't dawn from my experience whatsoever. The character models in The Last of Us Part 2 are extremely believable and actually capture what characters would look like in a realistic zombie apocalypse world, as people's shoes are worn in a certain way, or the fact that they're dirty, or like they have like this feel to it. The world of The Last of Us Part 2 that Naughty Dog was able to make for us is believable in the sense of that all hell has broken loose, and seeing a building deteriorate or completely destroyed is created from the chaos. Naughty Dog did a good job of showing that, and zombie apocalypse games need to be able to capture that feel going forward, because a comparison can be made. The fact of such games like Days Gone, even beforehand, had that feel to it, but it just feels like Naughty Dog was able to get in their bag and just be able to flourish that even further. So for example of that being influential, zombie games really can do well if they capture something like what The Last of Us Part 2 was able to do. Also, Naughty Dog was able to capture on its dark side and its light side when it came to the areas that you went to. When it comes to going through certain buildings and you're in a dark tunnel, it really captured the feel of not knowing what was going to be on the other side when you entered that exit. The darkness around it just felt correct at the moments that you were going through it, and seeing the lightness of, like, even of the snow in the distance, and the actual texture of seeing that snow actually move while riding on a horse were believable. It made me appreciate what Naughty Dog was able to do in terms of their graphics and just really pushing what the PlayStation 4 can do on its last legs. And the only other game that I can actually think about for the PlayStation 4 going forward in terms of graphics that made me feel that way was God of War. Up next, gameplay. No. Before we even get to gameplay, we're going to talk about the very first start screen of Last of Us Part 2, because that was some of the coolest stuff that I was ever to tinker with in a game, as it was definitely, like I said, movie feeling. The fact that you could actually put subtitles on and actually mess with mechanics of like how aggressive you want the AI to be, consider whatever mode you want to be on for you difficult taste. The fact that they cater to everyone in this game. We want that in every video game that we ever play, and Naughty Dog definitely capitalized on that idea everyone being catered to, even for gamers that are differently abled. It's just amazing and astonishing, and really appreciate it that Naughty Dog made sure that nobody was left out. When I looked at that first screen, I feel like I was at making my own sub at Subway, just messing with it and just see how I wanted to play, and just made me feel better going into knowing that I created this scene for my gameplay, and whatever happens is on my fault, and if I felt like it was a problem, I could change it. The option's always there. And now, let's get into the actual gameplay for The Last of Us Part 2. Gameplay for this game is upgrade from the first one. The same mechanics are still there, but it's real-time action of you get shot a few times and you're gonna die. There's just no way around it. And the AI is based off what I said earlier, how you made it, if you want them to be super aggressive or light aggressive. And the different modes actually pertains for people that want to play casually just to see the story, and all the way to the survivor mode of guns blazing, not enough resources, that kind of thing. I honestly just played on moderate and normal, just experience the story at a normal rate with some challenge at some points and others not. But what really captures The Last of Us Part 2 is how gruesome the game can be in terms of killing an enemy, being up close, or hearing the dying sounds of dogs being killed by Ellie during your playthrough. It's just something that you have to deal with as a player if you want to deal with that. And Naughty Dog actually gives you the option of being stealthy the entire way, where you can't be seen, or you don't have to kill anyone. I personally tried to get through stealthy areas just to see what it would feel like in terms of going in guns blazing, or just getting through the area without any being seen. And the gameplay wise is different because you come at it from different approaches, and I like that Naughty Dog was able to capture in this game, as I felt influences from Ubisoft's most beloved series, Assassin's Creed, was being played in the stealth modes of The Last of Us Part 2. The fact that no one can actually see me kill enemies from tall grass because my bow is too silent, or the fact that I have a pistol silencer the entire time. The idea was there to make it feel realistic that I could get through the area without anyone actually seeing me. Or if I was being caught, the realism of a dog actually picking up my scent, and I needed to do something to make sure that scent went away, just by distraction or just moving away from an area completely. That realism was there, and the anticipation of what my next move was going to be was there. And also I felt like it was die, repeat, try again. Because not every playthrough is smooth. And once you get your pattern down and know what you want to do and just see what the actions of the AI is going to be, you were able to move in those stealthy ways or gun blazing ways as you develop the way that you want to play as a gamer. The options are completely there the entire playthrough. But up next, let's talk about these damn zombies. Oh wait, they're not called zombies. They're called clickers. And they have made their respectful return, as they only hear based off your movement, which adds to the scariness behind their whole zombie feel, as sometimes when you're thinking you're making the right move, they come at you, or you have no bullets whatsoever. In the cut screen, it just has you dying. That was a dumb decision, Perry. You should have went the other way. But even going through those dark areas, you can get through them stealthily without actually having a clicker come anywhere near you. You just have to distract them and get through those areas. But also the addition to stalkers, where you can't actually hear what these zombies are capable of doing. You just have to be able to go through certain areas and just not get freaked out. There were several times where I would jump because either someone came into my room, or the fact that I knew that there were stalkers and I couldn't see exactly where they were, even while in listening mode. They just were nowhere near to be found, and you just had to be careful as you went around every corner with either a gun out or your bow or whatever you have at that time. The Last of Us makes you go through those areas for a purpose to drive on the fact of you're going to feel scared in those certain situations. I like that even in horror games, that even it's not even deemed as a horror game, it does that to you, that psychological path of a game of cat and mouse. The idea is to get to exhibit B, but the task at hand can be either smooth the way you play, or it can be you're stuck there for a while. It's up to you as a gamer to overcome that. And I like that Naughty Dog was able to put that even in the second edition of this game, as The Last of Us Part 1 did that as well. The idea of that needs to go forward in any horror game such as Resident Evil, or even a Days Gone 2 if it is made. There should not just be a capture of zombies coming at you the entire time. It just seems overly played out, and just the idea of it just needs to die as some structure comes forth to the survivor horror games. And The Last of Us Part 2 can be that guiding light going forward and influences in that way. Also, this game tries to be kind of an open world game, as you're able to explore the different parts of Seattle and find total collectibles throughout the game, as there are over 300, and which is by no feat like a downplay for if anyone that's trying to get the platinum trophy. That's an overhaul, and it demands your attention. And some of those collectibles actually give you the key codes that you need to unlock some of the safes that are also in the game, that can actually give you the more supplements or tools that you need to be able to upgrade Ellie's equipment throughout your entire journey. The fact of, like, you need supplements, it plays off the fact of you need to explore everywhere to grab those supplements. It's just the captures of the feel from the first game is like, make sure you go through every cardboard box or something just to be able to get the things that you need. And to see that still in the same way, it plays homage to the original game, and it feels like a direct sequel that they kept going forward. It's not just a formula that Naughty Dog had, it's that we've already had this world and we're just building off of it. Anytime you go to a workbench, you're able to upgrade the weapons that you have. You actually see the characters put the pieces together for whatever weapon that they need to make that upgrade. Made it feel more believable and important when you use that weapon, because you saw the character make it and you did it yourself. So it needs to be better. The fact that you can upgrade damage or put a scope on a gun or a bow really captures the idea. Also, in the real-time mechanics of The Last of Us Part 2 is when you're healing, it's the fact that you can do it on the spot, right there if you need something crafted. Even a pipe bomb, even a Molotov, if you are out of it, you can craft it as long as you have the correct recipes to make those specific items. Ellie can also be upgraded to be able to be more stealthy or endure if you take too much pain. But the one thing that seems to play truth, and I didn't believe them when they said it, The Last of Us Part 2 demands you to play it 2 times just to be able to experience the entire actual gameplay of the game. Of course, in other games, you're able to go back instead one playthrough and be able to get those abilities and move forward. But you'd have to play the game twice, meaning story beats. You have to see that again if you want to be able to see with the new Game Plus mentality to carry over with all the skills. Just to be able to see the full experience of what you're able to do in this game. I've never seen that in a video game that demands you to play it the second time to see its capabilities. Granted, you can play it without that one time through, but do you really get the full experience if you don't have every upgrade? It was a question that made me go throughout when I beat the game, that made me say, oh, if I want the rest of it to get the actual real experience, I have to do it. And for one of the trophies to actually be to get every single upgrade, it daunts for you to play. But of course, in that play setting, you can lower the settings off your New Game Plus and just breeze through the story. So that's no big deal whatsoever. So it's just cool that Naughty Dog made you say, like, hey, full experience, do it again. Okay, maybe. The gameplay for The Last of Us Part 2 overall was just super fun to play and better than the first one, as you were able to go through stealthily or guns blazing, and sometimes that's okay. Some people like to be gruesome and some people don't. The option was completely there the entire playthrough, and I just want games that can have that option, such as Assassin's Creed or even The Last of Us, continue to build off that, because gamers like that option. I know I personally did in this. Just the overall feel of like being able to create diversions between clickers and the humans that you're fighting to fight each other and move through an area without have to deal with that once you get past it. It's just a satisfying feeling like, yeah, fuckers, I gotta pass you so fast that you didn't even see me. Or you can just fight them both at the same time and say, like, I am death, and just move on. Up next, voice acting.
You do.
Do you believe that?
Ashley Johnson, Troy Baker, and Laura Bailey come into the story and just deliver what is these characters, what they should be and what they feel like. When I hear the two of my favorite voice actors in Ashley Johnson and Laura Bailey voice Ellie and Abby, I can hear those people that love voice acting so much that it's poured in front. Yes, I know that they work together from Critical Role and that they have those connections, but that does not play downfall of how great these actresses are. They actually capture the attention that the gamers deserve when they're playing as both Ellie and Abby during their playthroughs. I really hope that voice acting continues to grow and be as great as it has been throughout the past years, and Naughty Dog's movie-driven style proves that voice acting can be very, not just tolerated, but it excels in ways that that games and movies should do. Hearing Ellie's voice made me see Ashley. Hearing Abby's voice made me see Laura. Hearing Joel's voice made me see Troy Baker, for them actually caring for these characters and just knowing how much heart and pain when you hear certain words were there. It made me appreciate scenes that were being played out throughout the entire gameplay, and I hope that any games that Naughty Dog makes forth, either it's another Uncharted game or another IP, they continue with showing that their characters are growth level, and that other games as well can grow as that same way. Up next, story for The Last of Us Part 2. Well, by this point, if you are on the internet, you've probably seen the spoilers that came out for The Last of Us Part 2. Or if not, then you did yourself a due diligence of staying away from the actual story of The Last of Us Part 2. I was actually fortunate to be able to not have anything spoiled for me before this game came out. Certain story beats were leaked that made this game feel like no one should play it and people hate it, based off of what they read without actually deciding for themselves. But the game is essentially a story of revenge for a fallen loved one, and you play as Ellie throughout the entire throughway on this journey to seek revenge on someone that did you wrong. It is a story that needs to be shown for anyone that's dealing with pain or suffering, or needs to just be a reminder of what needs to be taken in for. It is also a story of isolation and the passing of a mantle to the next person in line as they endure that journey. The fact of the matter is that even in a zombie apocalypse, chaos still exists regardless of how people want to pursue it. It's also the fittest survive. Last of Us Part 2 did not deprive of that motion of the survivor will always win. The idea of also the scariness behind zombies being on the other side and also dealing with people was also within the story. And also seeing from a different perspective in Abby and seeing her motives was not something to bat an eye and not actually get her motives as well. Last of Us Part 2 also has some charm to it. It's not all just doom and gloom. It plays homage to past scenes and just things that you wanted to see. Seeing character development throughout the game was true as those characters make their decisions and they had to live with those consequences. There's no going back to the past, as this is in real time. It's not fantasy world. For a character such as Ellie herself, who couldn't swim in the first game at all, can now swim and use that in her own gameplay, shows character development and uses it to her advantage in gameplay, in your stealthiness, and how you want to play. It's just a cool factor of it all being tied in to one big thing. And even including the story beats, it shows you how that happens. And it's just a really good sentiment that there's growth in characters, there's growth in gaming, and it's just not about what the past game was about. It's about what is here and now. And The Last of Us Part 2 does a really good job of doing that. Now, if you're not familiar with the way we review games here at AWOI Gaming, we like to do what I like to call an influential scale, going from anywhere from not influential, potential, influential, and very influential. And I have to say that Last of Us Part 2 is a very influential game because the way that its gameplay is set up to go however you want to play, the fact that there has that Assassin's Creed feel to it when you want to play stealthily, the fact that the narrative and that there's no options whatsoever, everything you do, it's Naughty Dog's going to make you do it because you want to play their story, but also their movie. They're going to make you do it. We're so accustomed to games like The Witcher or even Assassin's Creed Odyssey where we have the option to do things, and Naughty Dog just strips that away from us to say, no, you don't do that. You don't get to call the shots in that. We do. And that's okay because it's a movie-driven game, and we just have to experience the game for itself. But also the fact that this game is so divisive that either you hate it or you love it. It's good conversation to talk about that, what other people thought about the game and what makes you feel that way. It's great because it has people talking, and the idea behind that is that you have your own side of the story and I have my own side, but we come in the middle to say, yes, we have our different views, but I'm glad that we played the game to experience what exactly was happening the entire way through. And then just kind of like a books, just reminds me of being in the classroom again when I was at school, is the fact that we were able to sit around and talk about our different opinions about certain characters and certain aspects. You can call it bad writing all you want. Some people think it's really good. Some people think that The Great Gatsby is a terrible book. And there's other people that absolutely love it. The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the most divisive games that I've ever seen be talked about. And that goes off review scores being however you want it to be. Now, I thought the game was very influential because I had no problems with whatever Naughty Dog had me driven. The fact that they made me do certain gruesome scenes throughout the entire game made me enjoy it overall. Is that I actually did that, and it made me feel uncomfortable, and it made me just like the game when I beat it. Seeing triumphant characters, seeing narratives played in, seeing some scenes played out. Someone might have taken it differently, and that's their opinion, but it's definitely a game that everyone needs to play for themselves before they make that final decision based off any leaks that they've seen or things like that. This is a game that everyone needs to either watch be played on Twitch or play it for themselves or read up on the entire story. You've had to experience it for yourself, guys. And that's what this game showed me. That's why I avoided leaks, because I don't like being spoiled. But it's there. It's a great game for us to have these type of conversations. And I just really enjoyed it. And it was just very influential based off everything I just said. And if you like this, hit the like button, hit the comment section, hit the subscription button, hit the notification so you know whenever I go post a video, and just giving your honest opinions about the game. Very influential doesn't mean a 10 out of 10. It means that it's influenced in a way that everybody else can talk about it, enjoy it, how other games can learn from it, if it's based off writing or gameplay, and what we all can do to make this better for the community and developers to make even bigger games outside of The Last of Us Part 2. Do you really think this is Naughty Dog's last game? Nah, I'm pretty sure they got something cooking up, but I don't know. This is my take. Very influential. Hope you guys have a great week. Have a great 4th of July. Stay safe, and if you're out there protesting, we see you out in the streets. Continue fighting the good fight. We love you. I love you. This is Perry at AWOI Gaming. See you next time with the next review. Bye, guys.